All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahusha, Bahashim, Rukakwadash. I want to give double honors to our apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well in grace and peace to you elect around the four winds, believing and pushing this truth in all sincerity. May the blessing of election be upon your houses. This is your fellow servant, Rokoyer from the GMS Orlando camp, coming at you another impromptu lesson, while the iron's hot. As you can tell from the title of this lesson, all right, all nations must go. All right, the Lord's kingdom will stand alone. All right, the Lord's kingdom will stand alone. All right, and tonight's video comes off the behest of something I seen on TikTok earlier today, which hopefully you can see it. I'll play it. I'll play a little bit of the audio, and we'll get into the precepts. Lord willing is edifying unto you elect. Bear with Eve. Eve is the one that's going into the video, but the Lord's kingdom must stand alone. Because right now peace has been taken from the planet Earth through our disobedience. Ultimately, through our disobedience, peace has been taken from the earth. And as that peace has been taken from the earth, these heathens have been ruling, the Lord's inheritance, our inheritance, riotously, man. They've been ruling riotously, and they've been fucking up everything that the Lord has established. They've been oppressing the creation, oppressing the people. All right, this problem stems past Esau, Edom as well, man. Esau, the so-called white man, gotta go. All right, that nigga's a problem. But so are these fucking heathens, man. All these other 17 nations are a problem as well. All right, you're gonna see it in this video, which is why the Lord must return and establish justice and peace in earth once again. All right, because these heathens that have been allowed to rule, all right, have done so wickedly. They've wickedly oppressed everything that they've touched. They've came against every standard that the Lord's established, and it's time out, man. It's fucking time out. Enough is enough. It's time for the Lord's establishment, the Lord's dominion to be established in the planet Earth. That's what we all need. We need Yahushua to return and establish his kingdom, and he must stand alone. But he will stand alone. Salaki, let me correct myself. The Lord will stand alone. But check this out. Let me see. Try to turn the volume up.
This man, right here, has to be one of the evilest men I have ever read about in my entire life. This is Shiro Ishii, and he was the man behind Unit 731. Unit 731 was based at the Pingfan district of Harbin of northeast China, where the Japanese had occupied a former Russian epidemic prevention facility. It was commanded by microbiologist Shiro Ishii and staffed by over 3,000 researchers. The stated goal was to develop biological weapons for use against enemy forces. Unit 731 used live test subjects, and by live test subjects, I don't mean animals, I mean humans, referred to as logs. These subjects included civilians and prisoners of war from China, Russia, Korea, Mongolia, and other conquered territories. I'm about to read out some of the experimentations. People had organs and limbs removed without anesthesia to study anatomical effects. Prisoners were kept outside in freezing temperatures and had limbs frozen and then rewarmed to induce frostbite. Researchers would then try treatments like pouring hot water over the areas or placing limbs in a furnace. People were placed inside low-pressure chambers to test the effects of extremely high altitudes. Some had their stomachs and eyeballs pop out from the low pressure. Subjects were tied down and infected with anthrax, cholera, plague, and other diseases while researchers studied effects. Many died excruciatingly painful deaths. Prisoners were strapped into planes and dropped from high altitudes with and without parachutes to see what the injuries resulted. Insects like fleas and ticks were allowed to feed on infected people. The insects then spread diseases like plague and cholera that researchers wanted to weaponize. Female prisoners were repeatedly raped, forcibly impregnated, and then infected with diseases to study the effects on the fetuses. Yeah.
Hey, you know, that video goes on for another, like, 2 minutes. But you get the gist, man. You know, these heathens have to go, man. Their dominion has to be wiped away. All right, and the Lord's establishment, the Lord's kingdom must be established, man. All right, the Lord must stand alone. Because as the Lord stands alone, peace, equity, and justice is going to be executed in the earth. All right, this is Jeremiah 23 and verse 5. It says, "Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth." All right, and that king is going to be Yahweh Shai. All right, that one to execute justice and judgment in the earth is going to be Yahweh Shai. Because under the rulership of these heathens, man, nothing but wickedness, inequity, and perverseness has went forth in the planet Earth. She was going into the atrocities that these so-called Ammonites have committed. And Esau, you could take Esau and times that by 10, times that by 100. You know, Esau has done far worse in the planet Earth when it comes to the people, when it comes to destroying the people. All right? He's done far worse when it comes to destroying the people. And this is why, once again, all right, the Lord is coming to establish justice and judgment in the earth, because that's what the earth is lacking right now. The earth is lacking true justice and true judgment. It says, "Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. In his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely, both the northern and the southern kingdom." It says, "And this is his name whereby he shall be called the Lord our righteousness." All right. And right now we're fighting and heralding in, all right, the Lord, this establishment, all right, this establishment of the Lord's dominion. We're fighting and we're heralding in the world to come, wherein justice and judgment will be the standard in the planet Earth. The reason why we see the debauchery that we see, the fucking wickedness, the just outright disgusting, wicked nature, all right, that we see on the earth, is because justice and judgment is not going forth. It's not. There is no justice and judgment in this society, man. That's why we see the culture that we see. That's why we have black culture, Latino culture, Native American culture. It's because judgment and justice has not gone forth properly in the earth. Therefore, we get cultures of death. We get cultures of debauchery and wickedness and perverseness. And it's time out for all that shit, man. It's time out for all that shit. The Lord is coming to establish his kingdom, and he will stand alone, wherein and his kingdom will execute judgment and justice in the earth. And in order for that to happen, these nations must go, and they will go. All right? They will go under the power. They'll submit. They'll be forced under submission under the power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right, this is Revelation chapter 19 and verse 11. "And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse. And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he doth judge and make war." Speaking about Yahweh Shai, his eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of the Heavenly Father. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed with fine linen and white and clean. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he should rule them with a rod of iron. And he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of almighty power. And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. All right, and the Lord is coming to subdue all the present kingdoms. That's what the Lord is coming to do, man. The Lord isn't coming back, contrary to popular belief. The Lord ain't coming back and just with kisses and hugs, and he coming back to just deliver his rapture, and you gonna get your clothes gonna fall off your body. No, the Lord is coming to subdue shit. He's coming to lay shit down, man. Chiefly these nations and 2/3 of the nation of Israel. He's coming to lay shit down that won't submit, that don't refuse to come under his order. When the Lord returns, it's going to mark the end of wickedness, man. The end of unrighteousness, perverseness. It's going to mark the end of the lack of judgment and justice in the earth. When the Lord returns, true justice and true judgment will be established, starting with the destruction of these nations. That's true justice. These nations deserve to be wiped the fuck out for what they've done in the planet Earth, man. We're not just disgruntled Negroes. Look at the evidence, man. The Lord has given us the eye salve to see. Look at the fucking evidence. We just seen a video of these Ammonites completely destroying humans, man. Just outright wicked ass experiments. Let's not even get into Esau's experiments. We all privy to that, right? We know how Esau get down. But let's talk about these other nations as well, man, because they're not going to escape the sword either. The Lord is going to come and subdue all nations. This is let me see. This is Revelation chapter 19 and verse 15. Again, it says, and out of his mouth goeth the sharp sword, that with it he shall smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness of and wrath of almighty power. And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. All right, and the Lord is coming to us to subdue these nations, to smite these nations, and establish his kingdom. All right, and upon the establishment of the Lord's kingdom, justice and judgment is going to proceed from the planet Earth. All right, and at that time, peace is going to be reestablished in the planet Earth. Because right now, peace has been taken from the earth. It's been stripped, ultimately through our disobedience and the rulership of these heathens. Peace has been taken from the earth. There is no peace here. As the scriptures say, there is no peace to the wicked. And right now, the wicked are ruling. But when the Lord returns, peace is going to be reestablished in the planet Earth. This is Isaiah 2. In verse 1, the word that Isaiah the son of Amos saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains. All right, when you go into mountains in the scriptures, speaking about governments, all right, large governments, because you have mountains and you have hills. The hills are the smaller governments. When you go into the mountains, all right, they're speaking about the larger governments, such as Babylon. All right. It says, and it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain, the government of the Lord's house, shall be established in the top of the mountains. How so? Through the Lord coming and smiting the nations and beating them with a rod of iron. All right? Forcing them under submission. It says, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. It says, again, let's read that again. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. And that's going to come through force, because they're not going to go willingly. All right, these niggas are going to have to be forced into submission, especially Esau. They're going to have to be forced into submission. And the Lord's going to come with that raw, just that raw, pure, unadulterated power. There's gonna be no choice for these niggas to subdue. Like it says in 2 Ezra, the 13th chapter, ain't nothing gonna be perceived but dust and smell of smoke. The Lord's gonna completely decimate these niggas, man. It's beautiful, man. It says, and many people shall go and say, come ye and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob. And he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. All right, because through the Lord's judgment, all right, through the establishment of the Lord's justice in the earth, there's not going to be any more need for war. The reason why there's war in the planet Earth right now is because the wicked are being ruled. As it says in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, the present ruler is his desires as death and hell. He can't be satisfied. He oppresses a man in his heritage. He removes landmarks. He's unsatiable, man. So through the Lord's establishment, through the Lord's kingdom, all right, as righteousness, justice, and judgment is proceeding through the planet Earth, all right, the Lord there's going to be no more need for war. Peace is going to be reestablished in the planet Earth under the Lord's dominion, which is why the Lord must stand alone and will stand alone. Because when the Lord returns, the Lord's going to make it plain that without a shadow of a doubt, that he is the power in the earth. He is the standard. He's the top dog, the upper echelon, the top of the food chain, the apex predator. The Lord gonna make it known, man. But it says, O house of Jacob, come ye and let us walk in the light of the Lord. But with that being said, that's all I have for tonight. Lord, when this is edifying. Once again, man, these nations must go, man. They gotta go. All right, the Lord must establish and will establish his dominion and his kingdom in the planet Earth. Wherefore cometh righteousness and justice and judgment in the earth, which is what the earth is lacking. It's lacking judgment. We're lacking justice and judgment in the earth. True justice, true judgment. We need the Lord to come back to establish these things in the planet Earth so that peace can be restored to the earth, chiefly to our nation. With that being said, shalom. Stay up. Yeah, that's right, bro. The original Terminator. He coming to terminate shit. Like the Elder Manasseh Zatba. Hey, when them scoffers be on his boy, you say, get that raid. The Lord gonna fucking spray raid on these nations, man. Shalom. Zap.